You might have noticed that YouTube recently just isn't running like it used to, and there's one common denominator that everyone who is suffering this problem has. They're all running ad block. Well, obviously, YouTube has kind of been at war with ad block. They've put it against their TOS. They've made it so they put their pop up so that you would have to disable it or ask you to. They really don't want you using ad block for obvious reasons, right? They want to make more money. YouTube wants more people to see ads to make more money for them. And if you're using the service through an ad block and not seeing the ads, you're not making them any money, right? That's what it all boils down to. And you can't really blame them for wanting to do that, right? They want to make money. That's their entire incentive. But now they are starting to slow down the entirety of the browser because you're using an ad block. See this right here saying it's not just you. YouTube is slowing down your PC if you have ad block installed by making your CPU sweat, likely as part of its draconian war on ad blockers. I don't know what makes it draconian, right? It's people are going to use ad blockers. Companies are going to fight against it. It's just going to be a consistent war that's constantly going on. Nothing we can really do about it. But YouTube going after like hardware is kind of crazy, right? Going after making your PC go a little harder is or perform a little worse or push things to its limit so that it performs worse is kind of weird, right? Because you're stressing hardware when they could just put in like in their code and say wait X amount of time if someone's running an ad block and slow it down that way, right? Or maybe they can't. Maybe this is the only way they can do it. I don't know. I'm not technical with all this stuff, but it just seems weird to go after the hardware. But also, apparently, this isn't the whole story, right? We all want to blame YouTube because it just makes sense that they're doing this. But if we go to this, someone responded to this here saying they disabled their ad block and their CPU temp immediately reduced 15 degrees. So, not happy about it. Can't really blame them for that end. But there's a community note here saying the issues are related to a buggy update to buy AdBlock and AdBlock Plus, and not directly related to YouTube's war against ad blockers. Blockers like uBlock Origin weren't affected, and articles have been updated to reflect this. So even though we all want to blame YouTube and say this is them doing this, because it would make sense that they do, it would make sense that they want to have more people watching ads because that will make them more money. They don't like the ad blockers. That shouldn't shock anyone. That shouldn't be controversial. But apparently, it's not their fault. They're not going. YouTube's not even going this far, right? Apparently, it's AdBlock and AdBlock Plus themselves. Now, I have not done these other ad blocks or tried these other ones to see if they're not affected, but apparently they're not. Even if you have YouTube Premium and AdBlock on, you would still get delays and pushback, which sucks. Like, you would think if YouTube knew that you're premium and have an ad block that they would probably not want to slow you down or throttle you, because at the end of the day you are still paying them for ad free. If you have an ad block, shouldn't really matter, right? So maybe it does make more sense that YouTube is not just straight up making everything worse for everyone who has ad block just across the board. But it's a normal thought to have, right? It is normal to think YouTube wants to make more money. And we have an article here, someone breaking down kind of the stuff going on, saying that right here, saying that the ad block here would cause slow load times and increase CPU usage when you're not using YouTube, messes up the resources on the computer as a whole, just kills Chrome. Basically saying here, someone found that the CPU usage rose 17% when running an ad block on this site. So obviously bigger hurdles, right? Big steps here. Originally there was a case going on or things going on where people found that if you had an ad block, YouTube put in like a 5-second loading delay. It was like coded in, someone found it. And basically if you had ad block, every time you would click to watch a video, it would sit there and load for an extra 5 seconds just to take longer. And I think that approach makes more sense from YouTube's standpoint, where like just make the site run slower. Don't like stress out people's hardware. That seems insane. But to do this and say, to slow it down and try and get people off ad block, I could see them doing that. Going this far, maybe not, which probably points to it being the problem with the ad blockers or an update they put out, which someone says here, saying loading delays experienced by AdBlock and AdBlock Plus users are not caused by our ad block detection efforts. So someone from YouTube saying, this is not because of us trying to go against ad blockers, it's something else. And going on to say, that someone on Twitter talked about saying they investigated a bit the performance regressions, and the cause is many distinct code paths which affect many sites. Since it affects both AdBlock Plus and AdBlock, the performance regression hits harder those who had the bad idea to use both at once. And seeing this, saying it affects many sites, that probably takes even more away from YouTube saying it's not them pushing this out. Even though it makes sense for them to do it, it's probably not YouTube. So for this one, we can't go out, we can't complain about YouTube and say that they're going after this and they're doing all this. It does seem like it's probably something else. It's probably something going on with AdBlock and AdBlock Plus because they're the ones affected. Other ad blockers aren't affected. YouTube came out and said, we aren't doing anything, which if they were doing something, would they say they were? Probably not, right? So, take that with a grain of salt. But because of all the other evidence of like other ad blockers working fine and other sites being affected as well, it's probably not just a YouTube thing. But this war on ad blockers from YouTube's side isn't going anywhere, right? It's just getting started, and it is going to be a cat and mouse game, right? The ad blockers are going to get a little bit better, be able to evade whatever YouTube does. YouTube's going to eventually fix that and, box them out yet again, and they'll find another way to do it, right? So it's going to be this constant evolving cat and mouse game. There's always going to be a way to block ads. There's always going to be a way to stop them from doing that, but then eventually they'll be able to do it again. So I don't know how you fix this problem, right? I don't really think it's a problem. If you want to block ads, let them block ads, right? I know why YouTube sees it as a problem because it does cost a ton of money to run YouTube. And when I have ad block, I whitelist YouTube because it is against their TOS and I don't want to get banned on YouTube. But also, why not? You watch 5 seconds of an ad, skip it, support, the creator you're watching, support the platform and stuff. Sure, I'm fine with that. Use YouTube enough and it's not that insane. The ads, for a while, the ads were getting pretty insane. They were like an ad every 2 minutes. It was ridiculous. Seems to have gotten a little bit better, but I'm going to keep YouTube whitelisted, and we'll see what happens. But the war here is nowhere near done. It is just getting started, actually, and we'll see what both ad blockers do and YouTube does. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next